Things you didn't know about London 5 minutes ago. Big Ben isn't what you think. Everyone calls the clock tower Big Ben, but it's actually the name of the 13.5-ton bell inside. Its chime can be heard for miles and is one of the most famous sounds in the world. The world's oldest subway, the London Underground or Tube, opened in 1863. It was the first subway in history and now has over 400 kilometers of tracks. Interestingly, only 45% runs underground. The rest is above ground. The Tower of London's ravens. Legend says that if the ravens at the Tower of London disappear, the crown will fall. There are always at least six, cared for by a special guardian. They even have names and their wings clipped to prevent escape. The impossible taxi driver test. To drive a black cab in London, you need more than just driving skills. Applicants must memorize over 25,000 streets and 320 routes in an exam called the Knowledge, which can take 3 to 4 years to pass. Hyde Park and duels. Hyde Park wasn't just for walking. For centuries, it hosted pistol and sword duels, especially along Rotten Row. Though illegal, duels were common among gentlemen defending their honor. The richest square mile in the world. The city of London covers just 2.9 square kilometers, but is one of the world's most powerful financial centers. Over 500,000 people work there, though only a few thousand live there. The London Eye and superstition. The London Eye opened in 2000, standing 135 meters tall with 32 capsules, each representing a London borough. However, there is no capsule number 13 due to superstition. Traffic lights for horses. At Hyde Park Corner, there are traffic lights specifically for riders and horses, unique in the modern world. They were installed to preserve the aristocratic equestrian tradition. London and its free museums. The city has over 170 museums, many free. The British Museum, for example, houses over 8 million items, including the famous Rosetta Stone that helped decode Egyptian hieroglyphs. The Wobbly Bridge, the Millennium Bridge, opened in 2000, began to sway dangerously soon after opening. It had to close for 2 years for reinforcement before reopening. The city with the most languages. Over 300 languages are spoken in London, making it one of the world's most multicultural cities. You can hear Arabic, Urdu, Polish, Somali, and even rare dialects on the same street. The oldest pet cemetery. Hyde Park has a pet cemetery founded in 1881, where hundreds of Victorian dogs and cats rest, with miniature tombstones that look like something out of a storybook. The underground and the mummies. During World War II, some tube stations served as air raid shelters. Curiously, one station stored Egyptian mummies from the British Museum to protect them from bombings. The world's smallest bank. London once had what's considered the smallest bank in the world, a street bench for 2 people in the financial district. It was more symbolic than functional. The underground river. Several hidden rivers flow beneath London, the most famous being the Fleet. Today it runs underground, connecting to the Thames, but in the past it was navigable. Dickens even mentioned it in his works. Diana's tree. In Kensington Gardens, there's an oak tree planted in honor of Princess Diana. Decades after her death, it's still surrounded by fresh flowers and tributes left by Londoners and tourists. The statue with a secret nose. Inside the Admiralty Arch is a small nose carved into the stone. Many overlook it, but locals say it was a prank to mock the guards who worked there. The clock that's always fast. The Westminster Bridge clock always runs 2 minutes fast so Parliament members wouldn't arrive late for sessions. The Churchill War Room's basement. Under Whitehall is a bunker where Winston Churchill and his cabinet ran World War II. Today it's a museum preserving maps, phones, and even the original damp smell. Covent Garden Market and its performers. Originally a fruit and vegetable market, Covent Garden is now famous for street performers, from living statues to opera singers, offering free daily entertainment. The Talking Tree of Hampstead Heath. In Hampstead Heath, there's an oak called the Talking Tree. Tradition says that if you whisper a wish to it, the tree keeps it and brings you luck. The Ghost Tube Station. London has over 40 abandoned underground stations. One, Aldwych, closed in 1994 and has since been used as a film location, including for V for Vendetta. The Speaker's Corner tradition. In Hyde Park, anyone can stand on a box and give a speech. Historical figures like Karl Marx, George Orwell, and Vladimir Lenin have spoken there. Mailboxes from different kings. Street mailboxes show the insignia of the monarch at the time of installation. You can find ones from Queen Victoria to Elizabeth II. The most haunted hotel. The Langham Hotel is considered London's most haunted. Guests have reported seeing ghostly figures, including a gentleman in period clothing, in room 333. London Bridge isn't what you think. Many confuse London Bridge with the iconic Tower Bridge. The former is a simple, modern bridge, while the latter has the famous twin towers that lift for ships. The narrowest house in London. In Kensington, there's a house just 1.8 meters wide. Despite its narrowness, it has several floors and is fully habitable, with furniture cleverly adapted to fit. The pub that was a prison, the Spaniards Inn, next to Hampstead Heath, dates back to the 16th century. Part of its basement was once a local prison and punishment area. Today, it only serves beers and ghost stories. The library that smells of death. London's Medical Society Library holds ancient books bound in human skin, a practice called anthropodermic bibliopagy, more common than you might think. London's Leaning Building. One Canada Square in Canary Wharf seems straight from afar, but from certain angles it leans slightly. Engineers say it's intentional to withstand strong winds over the Thames. Red phones that don't make calls. London's iconic red phones weren't always functional. Some have been turned into neighborhood libraries, art galleries, or mobile charging stations. Parliament's guardian cats. The Houses of Parliament have cats historically tasked with guarding documents from mice. Today they remain more as a tradition than necessity. The deepest tube station. Hampstead Station is London's deepest, at 58 meters underground. It takes nearly a minute to reach the surface by elevator. Tombstones for famous dogs. At Highgate Cemetery, some Victorian dogs have long, emotional epitaphs, almost like those for humans. Pet devotion was extreme. The cathedral with an unexploded bomb. During World War II, a bomb hit St. Paul's Cathedral but didn't explode. A plaque today commemorates this architectural miracle. The market that started illegally. Borough Market, now famous for gourmet food, began in the 13th century as an illegal food market. It took centuries to become regulated. The secret restaurant under the Thames. In the Greenwich Tunnel, there's a clandestine restaurant accessible only with reservations and a secret code. Only a few know its location, and the menu changes weekly. London's shortest street. Ebenezer Place is just 2.06 meters long, with a single building and door. It's officially the city's shortest street. The clock that sings every hour. At St. Mary-le-Bow, a historic clock plays different melodies each hour, delighting Londoners for over 300 years. The hidden little Chinatown. In Soho, Gerrard Street has Chinese shops and restaurants dating back to 1880, yet many Londoners miss it while walking nearby. Forgotten war tunnels. Beneath Clapham Common lie tunnels used as war shelters, with hidden entrances that can now only be visited with expert guides. The Ship Cemetery. In the Thames, old abandoned boats form floating cemeteries. Some are still visible from the river, creating eerie scenes. Ghosts of the Globe Theatre. Shakespeare's Globe Theatre is full of ghost stories. Actors report hearing applause, footsteps, and voices from centuries past during nighttime rehearsals. The Tube Station with a library of lost books. King's Cross Station houses a library of books left behind by passengers, some dating to the early 20th century and never reclaimed. The narrowest hidden alley. In Smithfield, Henrietta Street is just 1 meter wide. Only 2 people can walk side by side, and few tourists know it exists. The building that follows the sun. 20 Fenchurch Street, the walkie-talkie, has a curved facade that reflected sunlight so intensely it could melt cars. Panels were later adjusted to prevent accidents. The tower that disappears. Postman's Park has an iron tower that, from certain angles, seems to float in the air, mesmerizing photographers and visitors. The sculpture that never moves. In Trafalgar Square, next to Nelson's Column, a statue is said to change position at night. Scientists call it an optical illusion, but locals swear it's real. The house that hid from police. In Notting Hill, a house had painted facades that fooled Victorian police. It's said thieves used it as a hideout. The oldest public toilet still in use. Leadenhall Market has public toilets dating back to the 19th century, discreetly modernized but still operational. The sundial that doesn't work. Greenwich has a decorative sundial installed for tourists, but due to a construction error, it never showed the correct time. The city's secret mosaics. Under several central streets are intact Roman mosaics, visible only on exclusive archaeological tours, showing London's ancient importance. The Cat Alley. In Camden, a small alley decorated with cat sculptures and graffiti is said to bring good luck to those who walk through without fear. The Bridge That Speaks. Tower Bridge produces different sounds when opening and closing, a phenomenon engineers call the music of the bridge. Some locals see it as a giant instrument. The house sold for a penny. In the 19th century, a Whitechapel building sold for a penny due to its ruinous state. Today, it's a restaurant preserving elements from that historic sale. The Baker Street Station Ghost. A worker who died in the metro is said to haunt the night trains at Baker Street Station. The park that's a maze. Little Venice has gardens designed as secret mazes. The aristocracy use them for private parties and puzzles. The city's oldest library. The City of London Library opened in 1425, preserving medieval manuscripts that can only be consulted under strict supervision. The clock that stopped history. At St. Mary Aldermary Church, a clock stopped during a bombing, and locals say all nearby clocks stopped simultaneously. The Lost and Found Museum. At Waterloo Station, a small improvised museum displays items forgotten by passengers. Umbrellas, love letters, and more, each with a story straight out of a novel. That's all for today. See you in the next video.